one, and the kick is blocked. Appalachian State has stunned the college football world. One of the greatest upsets in sports history.
17 seconds, high formation. Here's the snap. Winston rolling right, throws the pass on the end. It's caught! It's caught! It's caught! Touchdown official! Calvin Benjamin. Knowles retake the lead with 13 seconds remaining.
Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown! Alabama wins!
And welcome back to another episode of the Lateral Live. I am Mike Settle. That over there is Dustin Franklin. Dustin, week 7 time, baby. Big time week of college football. You know, last week I was a little premature, not going to lie. I dubbed that a play at your ass Saturday, and there was a good slate of games, no doubt. One to get excited about. But this, buddy, this is something unique. This is something special. This is a true plant your ass Saturday. So grab a cooler full of whatever you like, whether that be alcoholic or non-alcoholic. Kick your feet up, grab some snacks. Don't leave the couch all day because, buddy, each time slot has a few big-time games going on at the same time. This is the first time or the second time ever where 3 5-0 teams will play each other.
Yeah, that can't be understated how significant that is. I mean, we got a lot of good action here. I hate that a couple of those games are in the same time slot.
Yeah,
because all 3 of those deserve the spotlight.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that Tennessee, Alabama, and TCU, Oklahoma State are going on at the same time. I would have loved for that to be split because those are 2 big-time games. By the way, I should reword that. This is the second time ever that 3 games between 2 5-0 teams are taking place on the same day. That is something worth noting for sure. Obviously, those games are Penn State, Michigan, which we'll talk about, TCU, Oklahoma State, which we'll talk about, and, of course, Tennessee, Alabama, right there where Dustin lives. College Game Day is there. Late Kick is there. All the shows are there. This is the first time since – I know that Butch had a close game against them, but as far as I can remember, the Mount Cody block was the last time I remember Tennessee putting up a legitimate fight. I believe that was under
Lane
the head
coach then?
I believe that was under my man Lane Kiffin, our man Lane Kiffin. I don't hate Lane Kiffin like you think I do. I just, didn't want him to be the coach of Florida State at that time. So, buddy, I didn't watch a single down of football on Friday night. I'm not going to lie to you. But I did watch some on Thursday. I watched Baylor, West Virginia. If we want to talk about it real quick, West Virginia gets a pretty big upset win. Crazy atmosphere there in Morgantown. Something else. Blake Shippen goes out. That really hurt Baylor's chances. This ended up being a shootout where West Virginia gets a really fun and exciting win.
I called it. I said both teams have hit the over 3 out of 5 times this year, so I like the over. And then I said, I liked West Virginia. Their schedule, their 2-3 record is deceptive because, Pitt's a rivalry game. Kansas is a legit team. Texas is good. So those 3 losses weren't bad losses. Right. And I just had the sneaking feeling that JT Daniels would pull it off, and he did.
Yeah, he looked good. Neither defense looked very good, and that's including West Virginia's against a backup quarterback for the most part. We don't know if Shippen's going to be healthy going forward. That certainly did hurt Baylor's chances as far as this Big 12 race, which is, again, as we said last week, is without a doubt the most interesting conference in the country. Where pretty much all 10 teams in some way or another are still mathematically in play to win the league. That's crazy. A lot of people were down on the Big 12 going into this year, and it's anything but down. It is all the way up, man.
Yeah, for sure. We love that conference for a reason.
I'll say we're big 12 homers here, no doubt about that.
I did watch some football last night.
Okay, yeah.
And
I was going to go to that too. We're going to talk about the same thing I just tweeted you about because that's embarrassing for my home state right there, man.
FIU, you're down in Miami.
Yeah, what are you doing?
You want to capitalize on the Miami Vice colorway is hot, right? South Beach colorway is hot. The Heat done it. LeBron made it big. Miami Hurricanes have dabbled in
Marlins have a uniform.
Good. The Marlins. But if you can't afford to go all in, don't do it. You paint your field. The field looks great for all 37 fans that were in attendance. You get some helmets. The helmets look great. I mean, the helmets got the 305 on one side of them. They're black. They've got the teal, the pink. Look great.
Yeah.
But you can't afford to get jerseys and pants to match. Like you trot out your navy and gold uniforms.
I would have gone
helmet.
all white. If you can't afford a full uniform, go all white, which they have.
Oh, dude, that was awful. And then also, I want to give a special shout out to Jeff Traylor for killing the 33 points last night, because I said I like UTSA to cover, and they had chances. They're gashing the FIU defense. They're running the ball down their throat, and then they'll call a pass play with their backup quarterback in, I guess, to get him some reps. He fumbles a snap on third down. They have to punt. Like the opportunity was there. And that was a bad beat on the overbet or on the
I would say a little bit of a bad beat there. Can't do anything about that. But Jeff Traylor, future head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
He turned it down.
He didn't get offered the A&M job. He got offered the Tech job, if I'm not mistaken, which he turned down, which I understand. But look, man, they run Jimbo out of town. Jeff Traylor, give him a call. You can get him a little cheaper than you got Jimbo Fisher, and he knows okay. Just look out for Jeff Traylor. He's going to get one of those big-time Texas jobs at some point. And I don't think he'll settle for, no offense, a Baylor, a Texas Tech, a TCU. I think he's looking at the two big boys there that are going to be in the SEC here in the near future. Dustin, anything else on Thursday and Friday night before we can kind of move on down the road? We got a lot to talk about in this Saturday slate.
Yeah, this is a healthy slate. Let's get into it.
All right, buddy. Let's start here with some quick hitters. Auburn versus number 9, Ole Miss. ESPN, Mississippi is favored by 14.5. Let me tell you something, man. I feel so good about Ole Miss that I'm worried. And the only reason I'm worried is because Lane Kiffin, one, has yet to beat Auburn. Ole Miss has not blown out Auburn since like 1970, whatever. And I know this Auburn team is down, and I know they're bad, and they're coming off a shellacking against Georgia. But if you look at the game against Georgia, most of Georgia's points came off of Auburn mistakes and turnovers. So I don't think, and I think you feel this way, this Auburn team isn't as bad from a talent standpoint as their record is turning out to be. We think it's a kind of a tenuous situation there between Harsin and the administration and everybody else. I like Ole Miss to win if everybody stays healthy. You remember last year, Matt Corral goes out, Auburn gets a win. That was not expected at all. I think Lane Kiffin will have a little something for him today. He remembers that. I like the Rebels to win. I don't know about cover, though. I still like Auburn's defense enough to maybe just keep it interesting for a while. So give me Ole Miss by 10, something like that. Give me the Rebels.
The most dangerous team in football is the team that has talent and nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Auburn has zero pressure on them. But that being said, Ole Miss is on a different level right now. That offense is balanced with Evans and Judkins running the ball. Jackson Dart's playing better and better each week. He's looking like the quarterback we thought he would be.
Yeah, he looks a lot better.
The defense is stellar. I mean, they're allowing less than 15 points per game this season. So as long as Ole Miss comes out and they play focus and don't overlook Auburn just because they're down this year, I do like Ole Miss to win and cover hotty toddy.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time finding a way that Ashford and the Auburn offense score points. Hey, you know what would have been crazy if Auburn had found a way to keep Bo Nix in-house because he's throwing it all around the Pac-12 right now. Anyway, okay.
Who could have predicted that?
Let's go to a game where the line legitimately pissed me off when I looked at it earlier this week. It's been bet down. But it pissed me off when I saw it. Disrespectful. Here we go. Number 19, Kansas versus Oklahoma on ESPN2. This is at 12 o'clock, by the way. Oklahoma is a 7.5-point favorite. That's been bet down. It was 9 earlier this week. Buddy, Oklahoma is not good enough to be a 9-point favorite over anyone in this conference, much less the number 19 team in the country. Pure disrespect. Now, I know Jalen Daniels is out, but we saw Bean in backup duty, and he looked pretty good last week. That's a well-coached team by Lance Leipold. I love that offense. And their defense showed me something last week. Now, TCU scored some touchdowns late, but go back and look at the first half numbers. They held TCU pretty much in check, man. I like, the Kansas defense is what got my respect last week. I already respected the offense. Man, screw that. Give me rock chalk in this one. I don't think, man, and I know that Oklahoma gets Dylan Gabriel back, and that's nice, but I don't see it. That defense is all out of sorts, and I think the Kansas offense will score plenty of points today to get a win.
I didn't say anything when you texted this.
I know what you're about to say. That's okay.
Jalen Daniels out for the season. Dylan Gabriel's back.
Not confirmed. Not confirmed.
What I saw yesterday said confirmed.
He said no. Just saying.
Well, he can say what he wants.
Him and his head coach said nay. His head coach tweeted out a picture. His head coach tweeted out a picture with his arms up in the air like this. I don't know. We'll see. He's out in this game.
He's out for this game. And Dylan Gabriel is back. I like Oklahoma to win this one pretty comfortably. Honeymoon's over for Kansas.
Are we watching the same football teams?
I know. We can't act like Oklahoma doesn't have talent, though.
On defense, I don't think they do. I really don't.
Okay. That's okay.
Now Oklahoma could easily win this game because they're Oklahoma and they've recruited well year over year under Lincoln Riley. But
call it a gut.
I don't know, man. Okay, and that's fine. I have that feeling about a game later on in the day. No, it's not Florida State before you get on me. But man, that would surprise me though, only because I think this Kansas team is just so well coached. Like
they are.
Oklahoma's going to have to really play their A game to win this one, in my opinion, just because of how well coached Kansas is. It's not a bad prediction, though. I thought about it. I just couldn't go with it because the last 3 games I've seen Oklahoma in, they look like straight trash, especially because TCU, the common opponent there, and you can't do transitive property. Anyway, all right, let's go to another fun game. A team that made me some real-life money last week, buddy. Minnesota, Illinois. Big Ten Network, Minnesota is a 6.5-point favorite. Another disrespectful line, but okay. Now, that being said, Tommy DeVito is out, the quarterback for Illinois, which, man, Sitkowski, if you remember, was the quarterback at Rutgers that everybody bowed on when he transferred to Illinois. Everyone was like, what in the world is Illinois doing? Illinois got one of the best running backs in the country in Chase Brown. Minnesota, we both love that offense. Now, you think Tanner Morgan's a double agent. I'll let you get to Tanner Morgan in a second. But technically, he's one of the highest graded players in the country if you care about PFF, which I know me and you kind of have a love-hate relationship with PFF. So
yeah, when it fits our narrative, it's awesome.
Well, of
but
course,
if you watch Tanner Morgan, that's all you need to know.
It's like IMDb on the horror podcast. They're right
when
they agree with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, this is a fun game. I think this will be a slugfest. Just kind of a rock fight a little bit. I think Illinois will try to ugly this up. I love that Illinois defense. However, I think the honeymoon may be over. I think Illinois comes back down to earth a little bit, especially with their core. Now, Tommy DeVito, we're playing this game. I think I'd feel a little differently, but he's not. So I'm going to take the Gophers hesitantly to win, but I don't like that cover. Give me Minnesota by 3.
Okay. Here's some things to consider, though. Illinois' defensive ranks. First in the nation in points per drive allowed, third in third and out rate, first in red zone efficiency, first in yards allowed per drive, and second in pressure rate. I think it's going to be a nightmare game for Tanner Morgan. I like the Illini to win outright in a close game.
How did we end up here on opposite sides of this fence? I guess Illinois already won me money, so whatever they do is gravy at this point. I do think they're a bowl team and then plus some. Let's go at 12:30. Miami, Virginia Tech, ESPN3. By the way, this is on your Valley Sports local channels. If you're in the state of Florida, I believe it's Valley Sports South. Miami is 7.5-point favorite. Look, I don't like this Miami team. I don't like the way they operate. They're slow. They're plodding. I hate the offense. I think Gaddis is a one-and-done type situation there for Miami. But this Virginia Tech team is bad, buddy. They can't stop anybody. They can't score on anybody. I like Miami to win and cover, but only because of the opponent. Now, I have every inkling to just believe that Mario Cristobal is damage control. I'm just going to slow it down even more. We're going to run, throw off play. We're going to get really mucky with this. So this could be a lower scoring game than I think people expect, just because I don't think Mario Cristobal likes to open things up. That's not what he does. But I like Miami to win and cover.
You see the Hokies hat this week. You see the Hokies hat.
Well, I want that, but it wouldn't hurt my feelings none.
All right, so this game, someone's got to cover, right? Miami is 1-4 against the spread this year. Virginia Tech is 1-5 against the spread this year. That is terrible. But Virginia Tech has allowed 30 points or more in their last 3 games. That's not great. Miami didn't look great against that awful North Carolina defense, but here's another chance for Van Dyke to get things rolling. I also like Miami to win and cover. had to swerve with the hat today.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty easy call, though. Just, man, this Virginia Tech team's got a long way to go. And so does head coach Brent Pry as far as this rebuild goes. 3:30 on ESPN, Arkansas BYU. Who scheduled this game for Arkansas? You are dummies. You already had one of the toughest schedules in the country. You started the season with Cincinnati. You have an SEC schedule to play, especially in the West, coming off of playing games against Alabama and everybody and A&M, which you lost. Like, what are you doing? Okay. If this game were in Arkansas, I'd pick Arkansas. But this game's on the road. This game's in Provo. This game's at BYU, Jaron Hall and company. I like that offense. I just don't like Arkansas' secondary. They don't seem to have any answers there to stop people from throwing the ball on them. And I think the BYU offense is capable enough, especially at home with that crowd. It's a big game there to get an SEC team to come to Provo. I think they'll be excited. I think it'll be a packed house. I like the Cougars to win outright.
Yeah, 1.5 points. I mean, this is essentially a pick'em game.
That's a pick.
KJ Jefferson should be back.
Yes.
I haven't it's going to be a game time decision apparently, but he should be back. That's good news for Arkansas. Bad news for Arkansas is the game's in Provo. That's a tough environment for opposing teams. This was one. There was 2, maybe 3 games this week where I honestly don't know what to pick, so I'm just going to pick with my gut. I want to pick BYU since it's at home, and I do think this is a good team when healthy, but since they're not fully healthy.
Right. That's fair.
I'm going to go with the Hogs, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, this is a pick 'em. I mean, it was a really tough game to just pick a winner because I think they're kind of the same team, question mark. Yeah. Like, they're kind of a very similar team, if you ask me. Yeah, that's a fun game, though, on 3:30. It's kind of a shame there's just so many other good games going on at that time where it's going to be hard to tune in, but I'll have it on a screen, although our boys will be wrapping up things. They're going to the NLCS around that time.
Ring the bell, baby.
Ring the bell, baby.
Phillies fan here.
Ring the bell. Let's go. All right. Fun game right here because this looks like a letdown spot. 4 o'clock. Number 25, James Madison. Say it again. Number 25, James Madison. The only undefeated team in FBS history, by the way. Georgia Southern on ESPN+. James Madison is a 10.5-point favorite. Something feels off about this. This feels like you get a lot of James Madison up games. They're playing up, up, up. Eventually, we know how college football works. Unless you're Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, one of those games has to come back down. This feels like a weird matchup to me for James Madison. However, I think Georgia Southern covers. But I like James Madison to win. Look, I have a hard time picking against the only undefeated team in FBS history, man. Give me the Dukes to win this game, but I don't think they cover. I think Georgia Southern keeps it pretty close. Pretty interesting game here in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, James Madison's like Bill Goldberg in like 98. Like he's fresh onto the scene and undefeated, so you kind of got to pick them until they lose.
Hey,
right?
Let's just lie and say they're 70 and they're 70 kind of like WCW did with Bill Goldberg.
But so this is an interesting matchup because James Madison has the best run defense in the nation, and Georgia Southern has the best offense in the conference. So it's a good matchup there. The difference for me is going to come down to Georgia Southern has the worst run D in the Sun Belt. So I think James Madison is going to get the ground game going a little bit. I do like the Dukes to remain unbeaten. However, I also like Georgia Southern to cover.
Well, that offense is just really good. The problem is Georgia Southern's defense is Nebraska. Nebraska scored a lot of points in that game, but that's a tough one to lose now in hindsight because they've ever since winning that game, I believe they're 1-4 or 1-3 or 2-3 or something like that. Hadn't been good for the Eagles. Okay. Fun game right here. It's not basketball season, so don't worry. 8 o'clock, North Carolina Duke on the ACC Network. North Carolina is a 7-point favorite. Battle of the Victory Bell, baby. No, this isn't a Cameron Indoor or anything like that. Look, if you asked me a few weeks ago, who would I pick in this game? It would be Duke. The problem is Duke's not healthy. And now we've seen North Carolina's defense get not right. They're not right. They're still pretty bad, but they're better. And I know that Miami's just not a good offense, and that kind of skews the numbers a little bit. But I do think they're capable of getting the occasional stop. And so I think they'll do that today. And I just got to ride with Drake May till the wheels fall off for the rest of the season. Give me the heels. I like that. Man, that offense is so fun to watch. Miami was able to slow them down where I don't think Duke will because of the health of their defense. So give me North Carolina to win and cover.
Yeah, I mean, this game is a very encouraging start to the Mike Elko tenure. But you said it, and they're
it's
banged
house
up.
money. They don't have to win another game, and they're fine.
Right, exactly right. And so, and they're banged up, like you said. So for that reason, I like Drake May and Crew to roll in a shootout. Over under on this one, I think it's 68.
Yeah, that's
I like
fair.
the over, and I like the Tar Heels to win and probably cover the 7. Although I think the bet is money line and over under here.
I was going to say, I agree with what the bets are here. 9 o'clock on the Pac-12 Network. Boo. Pac-12 Network. Boo. Washington State, Oregon State. Fun game there in the Pac-12. It's not the North anymore, but you get the point. Oregon State is a 3-point favorite. This was another game that was really hard to pick because I like both offenses. I think both defenses are okay. But you know where my heart goes. It's Bucky the Beaver, baby. Sean Mannion may not be walking through that door, but that's okay. That's a name from the past there. You like that little blast there. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the Beavers. I like the Beavers to win. I like the Beavers to cover. I don't feel great about it, though. This is just like BYU and Arkansas was a really tough game for me to pick because I just like both offenses enough, but I got to ride with my man, Jonathan Smith.
So the reason I can't get on board, and I told you I'm on board. I love Jonathan Smith. I love this program. The reason I can't this week is because Chance Nolan is most likely out again, and Oregon State was just taken to the brink by Stanford with Ben Gulberson under center. So I like Cam Ward to make enough plays to happen. Take care of the ball. Don't turn the ball over. That's his forte. But you take care of the ball, you make some plays, and you get the win outright.
So I thought about that too. My only thing is, and I know that they just played USC, and they played them admirably for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think Oregon State's defense is better than USC's defense. We saw USC and Oregon State play, and that's really the game where the USC offense got held in check. So if the Oregon State defense is able to play a little better than they did last week, I think they kind of slept on Stanford, which was dumb. I don't know why. Oregon State, you can't afford to sleep on anybody, my guys. So I think you're right. I think they force Cam Ward to make decisions he doesn't like to make. That's the only reason I'm taking Oregon State. But again, I know it's a 3-point spread. This really should be about a 1.5 because I think this is pick 'em to me. But with an unhealthy quarterback, you could be right. Okay, that is the last of the quick hitters, Dustin. Let's get into the meat of this schedule because the rest of this is fun stuff right here.
Yeah.
12 o'clock. This is the big noon kickoff for Fox. Number 10, Penn State. Number 5, Michigan. Michigan, a 7-point favorite. These two teams are the exact same team. They play great defense. They have an elite running back to hand the ball off to and a quarterback that we're not so sure about. Now, I think we're kind of sure about Sean Clifford and what he is, I guess. So that's maybe I misspoke there, but they're kind of the same quarterback because I haven't seen anything. And that shocks me, and it may shock you too. I haven't seen anything out of McCarthy that makes me go, okay, they're better because he's in there. I have not seen that yet. Now, I'm going to remove the Indiana final score from the situation just because of the Mike Hart thing. I think that team was playing down. They took their foot off the gas. I think that really kind of distracted the team from, being able to handle the task at hand. And that's why Indiana kept it a little closer for a while than expected. I think they'll be up for this game, baby. This is a big-time game. It's a tough environment to go into. If you're Penn State, you went on the road and beat Auburn. This ain't Auburn. This is a different team. I like Corum. I like Singleton, though. So I think both will have their plays. I just got to take the home team. I got to take the team that I think is better, that I thought was better coming into the season, which was Michigan. So all that being said, give me the Wolverines at home to win and cover. However, I do think Manny Diaz will have a little something for that ass.
Yeah, Sean Clifford, man, he's been playing really well this season, probably the best football of his career. And the Penn State offense is balanced, and they're in a very nice groove lately. Also, Manny Diaz's defense, man, they are stout, especially against the run. Now, if you look at the caliber of teams they've played, so those stats might be a little skewed. And Blake Corum is the best running back that this Nittany Lions defense will have faced so far. So this is going to be their biggest test. J.J. McCarthy, you mentioned he hasn't done anything to really wow you, but he has completed 76% of his passes the last 2 games. So I do like this Penn State team, but they haven't played anyone the caliber of this Michigan team, so I need to see it before I can pick them. I like the Wolverines to win and cover as well.
All right, here we go. Oklahoma State, TCU, ABC. TCU is a 3.5-point favorite. What a fun game here, man. This was when you're looking at the schedules, and we did our Big 12 preview show of the offseason, this isn't a game we had circled. Not even close. That's what's so fun about the college football season. Here they are. They're both undefeated. Here's what it comes down to for me. Does TCU thing crash, or are they just building the chip on their shoulder? Oklahoma State's defense last week was on the field for 104 plays against Texas Tech. That does not bode well for a bounce back against a really good offense. Max Duggan is finally realizing his ceiling. He looks great. Got two of the better receivers in the country to throw the ball to. The TCU defense is a little bit better than they played last week, I think. However, this is Spencer Sanders' best year of his career so far for Oklahoma State. He's looked better. I know neither me or you were very high on him, and rightfully so. Still hasn't wowed me, but is significantly better. Here's the only thing that I have with Oklahoma State. Can Derek Mason do enough on that side of the ball to create turnovers, to create pressure on Max Duggan? I don't think so. Oklahoma State's been playing with fire. They played with fire against Baylor, had a weird fumble return for a touchdown to kind of put that game away. They had to come back to beat Texas Tech after Texas Tech had that game tied in the third quarter. I just think this TCU team right now is better. They're playing better at least, and they're a lot hotter. So give me the Horned Frogs, man.
Yeah, here's the question: is how legit are the Horned Frogs in year one behind our guy Sonny Dykes? Like, this is a huge test for them. This Oklahoma State team, they've got a high-powered offense, and on defense, they lead the nation in tackles per loss per game. They've won every game this season by double digits. So this is a huge test. However, TCU is the only team in the conference whose offense is more high-powered. They're number one in the conference total offense. Oklahoma State's number two. They're rolling, averaging 530 yards per game. 46 points per game. This is going to be a fun game. This is another one of those games where I had a hard time picking it. I don't know. I could definitely see it go either way. So I had to pick with my heart, which is Sonny Dykes. Give me TCU. I'm not touching the spread though. I'm not touching the spread. Just give me the money line.
I was gonna say this is not a game I want to touch in real life. Not even close. I just think these two teams are kind of similar, Dustin, although I just like that TCU offense a little bit more. And we got to ride or die with Sonny Dykes. We've been on him since the offseason. Got to keep the ball rolling there. All right, here's a game that I think is getting a little bit too much hype. And I know you're going to disagree, but that's okay. NC State goes on the road to the formerly known as Carrier Dome to play Syracuse, number 18 team in the country. ACC Network. This is at 3:30, by the way. Syracuse is a 3.5-point favorite. I'm guessing that's because Devin Leary will not play, ? So, look, if Devin Leary plays in this game, I like NC State outright. And I think the number would reflect that as well. But as far as did you see anything different? Is Devin Leary healthy for this game? I didn't think so.
He's out.
Okay.
I've got ESPN pulled up right now. That's why I was waiting for you. Like, I wrote all my notes late last night for this game because I was waiting for it. Yeah, and then I pull up ESPN on my other screen right here this morning to get ready. And it says, where is it at? Oh, sources. NC State Leary out versus Syracuse.
Yeah, give me the orange at home. Then I like, because if they can't throw a forward pass against Florida State, they're not going to throw a forward pass against Syracuse very well, at least in my opinion. Now, they could roll out something completely different. Maybe they felt comfortable sitting on that game against Florida State. It worked out for them, but I don't think they're going to be able to do that here. I like the Syracuse offense a little more. The only reason I felt this game was getting overhyped because if Devin Leary were there, I'd feel a little bit better about NC State. I just can't pick them in this spot with a backup quarterback that we haven't seen really throw a pass yet. Now, great on the ground, so we'll see how Syracuse defense steps up. But I just like that Syracuse offense a little more. I like Syracuse to win and cover.
I mean, he orchestrated a comeback without completing a pass.
Well, that's Not.
I don't want to talk about
this. Is not this. This is not the same thing. This is on the road against a Carrier Dome that will be loud.
Yeah. So, as bad as this North Carolina State team has looked on offense at times, they just keep finding ways to win.
Yeah.
Devin Leary, there was a lot of question about his status going into this week. According to Dave Dorn, which we now know the answer, but he may play in this game. He may miss 6 weeks. Like, what is that, dude? He may miss 6 weeks or play this game.
That's coach speak. That's
I know,
ridiculous.
but just say it's up in the air. We'll review it. Don't give us.
Come on.
Could be today. Could be 6 weeks.
That's day boring for you, buddy. That's day boring.
But Syracuse has been great on defense this season. They get to the quarterback very well, and they're great against the run. Add to that the fact that Sean Tucker's on this team, and they definitely have a great shot at rolling in this one, especially with Leary out. So with him out, give me Syracuse. Give me the cover, 3.5. I like the Orange by a touchdown.
Yeah, man, that's what. Look, this was a game where if Leary played, I feel like it was a really good match. Like, the only reason I thought it was overhyped because I do feel like we're a little higher on Syracuse than we should be, but they get a little lucky here by not having to play Devin Leary. Like, not that I'm like super high on that NC State offense, but I'm also not as high on Syracuse as other people are. But they keep finding a way to win, and they're at home, and we like Dino Babers. Eventually, I think that luck runs out. They do have to still play Clemson, and they have to play Florida State. Like, they're going to run out of that kind of luck eventually. But I don't think it's here. I like Syracuse to win that game. Here's a game next that is normally way bigger than it will be today, but still a big-time game as far as first-year head coaches playing each other. LSU, Florida, ESPN. Florida's a 2.5-point favorite. I think this number is because of what we saw from LSU last week, where Tennessee just kind of rolled. I also feel like that says more about Tennessee than does LSU. Buddy, it looks like Kitna, ? May start for the Gators. That does not bode well for me if Anthony Richardson does not play, who I don't think is great, but I still think gives them the best chance to win. Is that what I'm seeing? Did you see that, or was that just false stuff I saw early this morning?
I didn't see that either. That's why I was just looking. I don't know.
Okay, then
you go ahead.
Okay. No, I think AR is playing. Okay, sorry. I just got a text. All right, so I believe AR is playing. Well, either way, this isn't a good matchup to me for the Gators. That offense just does not – I don't know what it is, but it hasn't done enough to just make me feel comfortable picking them in any spot. Now, the run game is really good. They've got a really good offensive line. They struggled a little bit last week against Missouri's defensive line, by the way, just because that was a styles makes fight situation. The Missouri defensive line is really good. But I think they're able to get some movement. Now, that LSU defensive line, when healthy, is better than Missouri's. So I think that's an interesting matchup to look out for today is the interior. I think this could be a little bit of a lower scoring game. I don't know about the status of Jaden Daniels. He got benched last week. Don't know what that's going to look like. All that being said, I got to do it. Go Tigers. Give me LSU to win outright. I know. I'm picking like a butthole instead of with my actual head. I'm picking with all the Florida State bias in the world. Give me the Tigers.
Yeah, so this is two teams that are still finding themselves under first-year head coaches. For LSU, Jaden Daniels, I know he was removed from the game last week, but I got to think that had more to do with the score because he bounced back. He had a 300-yard day.
Dude, if you look at his numbers, it's not like he was terrible.
Yeah, exactly. I seen it to you. I told you he was going to bounce back last week. It's 32 of 45.
His team lost by $1 billion. That's
not his fault.
Yes, it is. Is he on the
What?
team or not?
Does he play defense?
Is he on the team or not?
So you believe quarterback wins are a stat? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, absolutely not. Well, that's
okay. I just said that's not on him, and you said yes, it is.
Yeah, but how many touchdowns do he have? Like, come on, man. Come on.
He had a touchdown, but
one.
You did he play defense? Tennessee scored 40.
Well, that Tennessee offense is rolling, buddy.
Exactly. Anyway, so I think he'll play in this one. He's not going to be benched. But what we've seen so far this year from the Florida defense, you can expect another big game from him. I think their secondary has been terrible. They give up a boatload through the air. The key for Florida is going to be relying on the rushing attack and sticking to what works. Don't get too cute. Don't try to force Richardson into grooves. As long as Florida can limit their turnovers, which has been a problem for them, I like the Gators to get the win, probably by a touchdown.
Yeah, look, I don't really like either one of these offenses, quite frankly. So I think we're in for a little bit of an ugly game, maybe, but it could be a fun game, I think, because these two teams are pretty evenly matched to me when healthy. Okay, let's go here, buddy. This one's a toughie. Number 4, Clemson goes on the road at Florida State. Clemson, a 3.5-point favorite. I think this line is indicative of the fact that they're on the road. They played 3 kind of up games in a row. Vegas has a weird thing about these kind of things, and it is a road game with a Florida State team that I think has shown they're capable of not getting the doors blown off of them the last few weeks, where they absolutely could have in 3 different spots. All right. If DJU plays like he's played all season long, I think Clemson wins this game and covers that easily. Now, I'm not expecting a blowout because I just don't think this Florida State team is capable of getting blown out until they show me otherwise. But if DJ and that offense are clicking like they have been, and don't look at the Boston College game because I think that was a little indicative of the opponent. They'll be up for this game, man. This is Florida State on the road. There's some bad blood here ever since the 2020 game cancellation fiasco situation. Now, Dabo Swinney said earlier this week that this is the best Florida State defense he's seen since Mike Norvell's been there. I kind of agree with that because I don't think the defense is the reason for it. It was the offense. And that's where the problem is, Dustin. Clemson's defensive line is expected to be full go, fully healthy. That's going to be a tough day for a not fully healthy Florida State offensive line. If this Florida State offensive line were fully healthy, it would still be a mismatch, but I would feel better about their ability to move the ball just because Alex Atkins has the ability as a coach to create angles, create weird ways to get people to run the ball. I just have a hard time seeing that here and they're up front. They're going to have to get really creative on offense, use Jordan Travis's legs, kind of like they did last year. I just don't see it. I don't think Florida State has the firepower. But at home, at night, I think Florida State fights. They keep it close. But I like Clemson to win by about a touchdown, maybe 10 points.
Clemson's fully healthy. That's bad news. The momentum from the 4-0 start is completely gone. Running back 1, Trayshawn Ward's banged up. Don't believe he's playing. I don't know. Is he playing? Yeah, he's not playing.
No, he's not.
Not to mention, Florida State hasn't beaten Clemson since 2015. I can't overlook the fact that Clemson just beat NC State and Wake back-to-back, and Florida State just lost to those 2 teams back-to-back. I know that's not exactly how things work, but they dropped 51 on Wake Forest, and Florida State struggled. Clemson's offense has been getting better and better each week. DJU's been playing really well this season. I like Clemson to roll easily. Give me the Tigers 38-16.
Okay.
And that's not – and that's 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions because we can't kick field goals. I don't care if Fitzgerald made a field goal last week or not.
He should have had a chance to kick the game winner. All right, number 16, Mississippi State versus number 22, Kentucky. Mississippi State is a 7-point favorite. Don't know the status of Will Levis. Should have looked that up. That's bad on my part. I don't know if that matters, though, Dustin. I like Mississippi State to win and win big. I like them to win and cover by quite a bit. That's my analysis. I just think Mississippi State is a much better football team than Kentucky is.
Yeah, Will Levis is playing. The Kentucky offensive line is terrible. We've discussed that for weeks.
Guess who's not terrible?
Will Rogers.
Well, the Mississippi State defense.
Mississippi State defense.
Yes.
Yeah, they are good on defense. And I've been saying it for weeks. Will Rogers is walking 21 points. So there's 3 touchdowns right there. Levis is starting. So that's good news. But I just think that, like you, the Mississippi State defense is too good. They're rolling right now. The run game has been picking up for Mississippi State, which is a new wrinkle to Mike Leach. I like the Bulldogs to win by about 10.
Yeah, I do too. And it could be even more just depending on how bad the Kentucky offensive line plays. I think Will Levis has the ability to at least make it interesting for a while, though, just because he makes good decisions. But Yeah. If they can't get anything going on the ground with Chris Rodriguez, you can forget it. I like the Bulldogs to win and win comfortably. Fun game here. All right, here we go. 8 o'clock on Fox. Number 7, USC. Number 20, Utah. Utah, a 3.5-point favorite, which line kind of shocked me a little bit, but I kind of understand it. This is a tough environment to go play in, the toughest environment that USC has had to go play in so far. I'm going to let you go first, guys.
Okay.
I have a gut feeling about this game, and I kind of want to hear what you have to say first.
So I really wish this game was in the Coliseum. I really wish this game was at USC.
Yeah, I bet.
I've said it multiple times on this show that Utah is just not a good team when they're away from home, and they're a really good team at home. And the fact that they can't play well on the road doesn't mean they're a bad team. That's just, I don't know, it's something mental. It's got to be at this point. But my USC to the playoffs agenda is in danger here. It hinges on this. Caleb Williams and Jordan Addison, now they're still one of the best duos in the country. And USC leads the nation in sacks on defense, so they could get it done. Here's the key. Utah has lost 10 straight games when they give up 200-plus on the ground. So USC is going to need a big game from Travis Dye. They got to get the run game going if they want to win. But Utah is going to run all over USC. That's going to open up the passing game for Cam Rising. Bottom line is Utah is going to control the clock. They're going to keep USC's offense off the field. So I like Utah to get the win in a close one.
I think last week Washington State showed the blueprint on defense to stop, and so is Oregon State, by the way, the blueprint to stop that USC offense in its tracks. Now, I'm with you. I don't think this does a ton to USC's playoff chances to lose one game because they still have a chance to win the Pac-12. And I think
the reason I say that's because you still got UCLA.
Trust me, I get it, but I don't think this certainly hurts, but it doesn't ruin their playoff hopes if they have any. Because if a one-loss USC Pac-12 champion, buddy, the playoffs are taking that all day, every day. However, I agree with you 100%. It just feels like a bad spot for the Trojans. They've been kind of playing with fire for a few weeks now, just as far as their defense is creating a lot of turnovers. It's giving their offense really good spots on the field. I don't know if that continues on the road, Salt Lake. Buddy, that's a tough – Rice Eccles is a tough place to go play a football game if you're a road team. That's a ranked Utah team. They're coming off a big loss, which I think has more to do with how good UCLA is than it does with how bad Utah is. We'll find out today, but I'm with you. I think Utah gets the ground game going because they're going to be able to move that USC front off the ball a little bit. And I think Cam Rising has one of his better games of the year. They're going to be playing with the crowd on their side. Give me Utah to win. This is the first speed bump for Lincoln Riley and the Trojans, but I don't think it takes them out of anything at all. I just think they're bound to lose the game at some point. This is year one, dude. This is at some point that glass is going to shatter, and Cinderella's got to go back to being a stepdaughter.
And not to mention, Utah is going to come out playing inspired football because I don't know if you saw the helmets they're going to wear.
Yes.
So they've got, their helmets are going to be honoring fallen teammates, Aaron Lowe and Ty Jordan. I think their faces are painted on the helmet, and they got a cool little decal there that says, what's it say? TJAL. So it's got their initials on a heart crest located on the back of the helmet. So that's stuff right there that's going to give the team at least a 2-point swing right there.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just feels like a spot where Utah wins. Like, it just has that feeling. Everything in the world's going against USC, which is really why I should probably pick USC because that's what college football does to people. But no, I can't. I just think that this is a good spot for the Utes to come and get a win and kind of bounce back after what has been a disappointing start to the season. This could easily be a 5-1 football team. Could have easily won the game on the road in Gainesville. I think they were not the better team last week against UCLA, though. So easily a 5-1 football team. And should feel pretty good about themselves. All right, let's go to the game of the day, buddy. For the first time in a very long time, the third Saturday in October means something. Dustin, you've lived there your whole life. If you ask older Tennessee fans and older Alabama fans who their most hated rival is. They're saying the other one. Correct?
Yeah. The third Saturday in October. I mean, that's something you hear about as a kid before you even really know what football is. Third Saturday in October. This is a big-time game.
Here's the problem. You've got kids, you got adults that don't even know what this rivalry is, what it means. They don't know to bring cigars to the game because Tennessee hasn't won. It's so long. By the way, the winner smokes a cigar after the game. So if you're a Tennessee fan, at least bring one. If you're watching this and you don't know the tradition, I'm sure you know by now, especially if you're a student. But it's been a long time, Dustin. This is the best chance Tennessee has had to win this game since I can remember. And I can, just like you, I can run off a name of very, random players in Tennessee history, and they've all fallen to Bama. That being said, if Bryce Young is healthy and he plays, it's going to be a tough out. Because as much as I like that Tennessee offense, and I do, as you call him, hemmed-in hooker, he is him, and he's been great. He's played mistake-free football for the most part this season, and it's boded well for the Volunteers. But I don't love that Tennessee defense all the time. I like them in spots. They're good situationally for the most part. They played really well last week in a game where they could have easily came out, kind of looked ahead to Bama, sleptwalk through a little bit. They did none of that. But this Alabama offense with Bryce Young is a little bit different. It's a different animal. I think they've got some receivers going. They're coming off an emotional win last week, a game they could have easily lost. They should be thankful to win against A&M at home. The Alabama offense is the biggest question mark to me. If Bryce Young plays, it's going to be a fun day. Even if Bryce Young plays, though, Dustin, I don't care. For the first time in a long time, good old Rocky Top has a chance to beat Alabama. And damn it, I think they do. Give me the Volunteers.
I hate that song.
No, you don't. Come on. All right, go ahead.
Oh, I do.
No, you don't. It's all right.
One of the biggest reasons I could never actually be a Tennessee fan is because of that song. But anyway,
the video of that guy cutting the jig though, that's good stuff. that's
no,
good stuff.
it's not. It makes us all look bad.
Oh,
it makes us Tennesseans look bad.
Well, there's buddy. I got news for you. There's a lot of other things that make you Tennesseans look bad that aren't that.
Listen,
same with foot. Trust me, I get it. We're in the same boat.
So, Tennessee has not beaten Alabama in 16 years. It goes all the way back to 2006.
That's hurtful.
This is the first time since 2016 where both teams are top 10. Alabama was number 1 at the time. They beat number 9 Tennessee 49-10. So even then,
yeah, we knew that Tennessee team was on shaky ground though. We knew.
Yeah. Tennessee has the number 2 scoring offense in the country, number 7 passing offense in the country, number 1 overall offense in the country. Hendon Hooker, my Heisman leader, he's thrown 239 straight passes without an interception. Goes all the way back to the Georgia game of last year. He is phenomenal. He takes care of the ball. Offense isn't the problem with Tennessee, though.
No.
As we know, it's the defense, the passing defense in particular. Bryce Young's status is unknown, so up in the air. But even if he plays, it's going to be tough for him, I think, to feel comfortable
I think so
coming
too.
back from an AC joint injury. Like, even if it's grade 1, like coming back in 2 weeks, that's
shoot him
really
up.
unheard of.
Shoot him up.
So if he's out, I feel even better about Tennessee's chances here. Milroe's good, but he's still unpolished. He's inexperienced. He's not close to as good as Bryce Young just yet. So for the first time in 16 years, I think Tennessee beats Alabama. Give me the Vols behind that high-powered offense, home game, orange out. Neyland's going to be rocking. There's a buzz around the town. It started days ago. So it makes me nervous to say it, especially with Peyton Manning being the guest picker. They have a terrible record in games that Peyton Manning attends. But give me the Vols.
I have a question for you before we get out of here. Do we see this game again? Question mark. How you feel?
I can't I don't know. We'll have to see how I feel in November when they go into the Georgia game.
So they go to Sanford Stadium. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, I can't necessarily pick that one just yet. I need to see how the next few weeks play out, but possibly. And I wouldn't have guessed that going into the season. Nope. I mean, I knew this Tennessee team was going to be good. I picked them to win 9-10 games, but possibly.
This feels like a situation where I don't feel comfortable picking Tennessee, one, because of precedent, two, because everything's coming up Tennessee. And we know how college football works. And to me, that means, this looks like a big-time 105,000 people go silent because Alabama wins like a walk-off or something like that. I can't pick it, though. I don't think they should look ahead to Georgia. Just live in this moment. You have a chance to knock off get the Florida thing off your back and the Bama thing off your back in the same season, Dustin.
Yeah. Huge test for Josh Heupel, but I believe the hype.
That's a good play on words there. All right, Dustin, we both have Tennessee. That makes me nervous.
Yes, guys.
Buddy, do you have anything else before we get out of here?
Let's get out of here before you make me listen any more of that song.
You know you're going to have it on in the car later. I'm just kidding. Hey, for Dustin Franklin, I am Mike Settle. We will catch you next time on The Lateral. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. This episode goes up right after on Apple and Spotify. If you missed anything, go back and listen. But we will catch you next Saturday. Don't forget to plant your ass on the couch.